Namaste and good morning everyone. Welcome to the scripture Bhagavad-Gita second chapter class. We'll start with the opening prayers. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Then we'll chant Mahamrityunjaya mantra 3 times for everyone who is in suffering. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhana Mrityor Mukshiyamamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome everyone. Today we'll start the next verse of Bhagavad-Gita. So we'll chant the verse number 2. We did the verse number first last time, and today we'll do the second verse of the second chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalam Idam Vishame Samupasthitam Anaryajushtamaswargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna. Now I'll chant the whole verse and you can repeat along with me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalam Idam Vishame Samupasthitam Anaryajushtamaswargyam Akirtikaram Arjuna. So, yes, last time there was a request to explain about the meters. So today I'll explain the meters, that what is this meter in Sanskrit which we use in Gita. So in Sanskrit there are lot of meters. There are hundreds of meters, and those are defined very precisely, that what does it mean. There are multiple types of meters, and a particular category of meters is defined by the number of syllables in each line. When I say line here, it's actually a quartet here, like 4 lines. So even though in the verse you may see 2 lines written in 2 lines, but it's actually 4 quartets we say. So for the purpose of chanting, and that's one of the reason why you see that I was chanting 1 quartet at a time. So this is 4 quartets, and every quartet, the criteria is will have 8 syllables. And this meter is called Anushtup or Anushtup. Anushtup Chanda. Chanda is the meter. So this is one of the meters. How do I know 8 syllables? A syllable is always centered around a vowel in Sanskrit. So one vowel, one syllable. And there should be 8 syllables in every quartet. And that is the criteria for dividing the verse into quartet. So how do you divide? Where do you divide? Many people have this question. Where do I know I have to divide while chanting this verse? So that is the criteria, that you divide after 8 syllables, and that becomes a quartet. In Anushtup Chanda, this particular meter, you have 4 quartets of 8 syllables each. There is another type of Chanda meter in Gita. Gita only uses 2 of them. So we'll only talk about 2 meters. And other one is called Trishtup or Trishtup. That has 4 quartets of 11 syllables. So Anushtup Chanda, 4 quartets of 8 syllables, and Trishtup Chanda, 4 quartets of 11 syllables each. So let us see the syllables here in Anushtup Chanda. So as I said, they are centered around the vowel. When I say vowel here, please do not consider the vowels as in English language, but it's the vowel in Sanskrit language. So for example, A, this is a vowel. There is also, if it is I or au, it's written in Roman script as the 2 vowels, AI or AU, but in Sanskrit it is only 1 vowel. So please make sure that that confusion does not arise if you are using the Roman script. If you are using Devanagari, that will not arise. But if you are using Roman, just to make sure that we are talking of vowels as per Sanskrit language. So you can count there. I have marked the vowels in red letter here, and you can count every quartet has only 8 syllables. And that is the characteristic of this particular type of meter. This is called Anushtup. There are further criteria which we will not go into detail, that a given syllable, given vowel, whether it is short or long, at which place. So there are multiple sub criteria, there are subdivisions of, you can say, this particular meter, which defines that how these 8 syllables are distributed in terms of whether they are short vowels. When I say short vowels, it's like akara, ukara, or long vowels like a, e, and also there are some other criteria of how a vowel becomes long vowel. So we will not go into this. Suffice for our purpose for chanting Gita, because Gita only has these 2 meters. Anushtup, that you understand that this is every 8 syllables, and that's what makes the poetic rhythm also, that 8 syllables in every quartet. Unlike some poems in the other languages where the rhyming is important, here the rhyming is not important. Here the rhythm is created because of the distribution of equal syllables, and also that criteria I told you, that whether a syllable is short or long, that creates the rhythm of a particular meter. This meter is the most common meter of the whole Sanskrit literature. If you read, most of the scriptures are in this meter, or like 90% plus, you will find this meter to be used. So if you can identify an Anushtup meter, that itself will give you a great confidence in understanding how the verses are chanted. Trishtup meter, or Trishtup also it's called, similar criteria, but it has 11 in each quartet, 11 syllables in each quartet. So Guru na hatva hi mahanubhavan Shreyo bhoktum bhaksham api haloke. Here you see bhaksham, even though it is showing like 2 vowels as per the Roman script, but it's only 1 as per the Sanskrit. So just be aware of that. Anushtup Chanda, it is also called Shloka. There is another name, Shloka. So many times Anushtup or Shloka meter. This is the most common, and then probably the second most common is this in most of the scriptures. There are other meters which also are there, but Anushtup Chanda is the most common, and Gita only employs these 2 meters. There are 700 verses in Gita, they only apply these 2 meters. And in Gita also, I think I have not counted exactly, but about 90% are Anushtup meters, 90% of the verses, and about 10% of the verses maybe in Trishtup meter. When we do this chapter 2, we will have both the verses, Anushtup meters and Trishtup meters. This one is 2.5, and the one Anushtup, this is 2.2. So the one which we are doing today, Kutastu Akashmala. So just wanted to give you an idea of how the meters are defined and how do they work. That helps in splitting the quartets and for you to understand where to pause. Another important thing while chanting Gita, that if you look at this verse, Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupasthitam. And this is like a one word, Anarya Jushtam Aswargyama Kirti Karam Arjuna. Like you see, the whole thing is like one word. Looks very imposing, and we do not know how to make sense of it. But as I said, if you understand the Sandhi rules, and I have given the Sandhis here, then you can see these are 4 different words. And after 8th syllable, where the end of the quartet is, we make a pause. So even while speaking, I would actually split the Sandhi. And that sometimes can create some confusion for people who do not recognize that why written part is different than spoken part. And that's the reason, because there is a pause. Sandhi happens when 2 sounds come together without any break. And because there is a pause after every quartet, there is a split of Sandhi. So we'll see some other examples here. It is not very clear because Sandhi is broken at Idam and Aswargyam. Both are there, but in some cases, the difference could be quite significant. It's between the written, what is written, and how is it spoken at the end of the quartet. With this much introduction to meters, we'll get to our verse. So just like we did last time, we will analyze the verse in detail and see the individual words and what do they mean. Okay. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. By the way, this 4, so Shri Bhagavan Uvacha is not considered a part of the meter. It is just to indicate that Lord spoke. So that's why you have 4 quartets of 8 syllables each. This is the verse. Kutastu Kashmalamidam. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha is not a part of the meter. So this Shri Bhagavan here is nominal. It is nominative case. It is singular. It's masculine gender. And the base word here is Shri Bhagavat actually. So what is the meaning? First, let us just identify the type. So uvacha is the verb, kutaha is indeclinable, twa is nominal pronoun, kashmalam is nominal, idam is nominal pronoun, bishame is nominal, samupasthitam is nominal, anaryajushtam is nominal, aswargam is nominal, akirtikaram is nominal. This is nominal. So we'll now look at the meaning of each and individual word. So for the nominals, the ones columns which are in yellow, those are important. And for the verbs, the columns which are in blue, they are important. Indeclinable, only the meaning matters. It does not, we don't have to fill any columns, because indeclinable means its form does not undergo any change. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. So what is Shri Bhagavan? It is made of two different words, Shri and Bhagavan. So Shri means fame or glory, and Bhagavan, this word Bhagavat. So I can even potentially create this hyphen to indicate it's a compound word. And Bhagavat, it means this suffix which you see here, vat. This is a suffix in Sanskrit, means one who has. And one who, so what one has? One has Bhaga. One who has Bhaga is called Bhagavat, which becomes Bhagavan in the nominative singular. So what is Bhaga? Bhaga is a word which is defined in the scriptures separately, not as a part of the Bhagavad-Gita, but it is defined as separately Bhaga. So I'll just bring out the Bhaga here. So 1 second. Okay, here is the definition of Bhaga. So this is a verse from Vishnu Purana which defines what is Bhaga. The verse is, you might have, some of you might have heard many times, because Baba quotes this verse quite a few times. Aishwaryasya samagrasya dharmasya yashashaha shriyah jnana vairagyayoshaiva shannam bhaga iti rana. There are 6 qualities which together are called Bhaga. These 6 qualities are Aishwarya. Aishwarya means sovereignty. Dharma. Dharma is a very loaded word, can be defined in many different ways, but generally, probably the most common one is righteousness. Yashashaha. Yasha. Yasha is fame. Shri is wealth. Jnanam is knowledge. And Vairagyam is renunciation, quality of non-attachment. One who has these 6 attributes in totality, in absoluteness, he is known as Bhagavan. So this is Bhaga, and one who has Bhaga, that means these 6 qualities in totality. Samagra. Samagra is the word for totality, absolute. That one is known as Bhagavan. So we all have these 6 attributes, but we don't have in absoluteness. That's the main difference. So Jiva and Bhagavan, Jiva and Ishvara, the difference here is not so much of the quality in as per this, but just a matter of quantity, you can say. Bhagavan has all these attributes in totality. We have these in partial measures, small measures. So we all know, have some righteousness, we all have some sovereignty, we all have some fame. Maybe our family member knows us. Some fame we have. We have some wealth, some knowledge, and some non-attachment we definitely have. Like we all grew up from the toys we were playing in the childhood. So we all have these measures, but in limited way, not in absolute way. So Shri Bhagavan, that is the meaning. One who has Bhaga, or you can say the Lord. Shri means the blessed Lord or glorious Lord, glory. So different translations can be made. Lord, blessed Lord. Uvacha, this is a verb. Remember this we already did in the last class, Uvacha. So we'll just take it from here. This is a little akara, third person, singular, parasmaipadi, root is vach. It means to say. So this becomes one sentence. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. As I said, in Sanskrit, a verb makes one sentence. So Shri Bhagavan Uvacha means the blessed Lord said. Kutaha, it's an indeclinable. That means only I have to have the meaning. So from where? Kuta means from where. Or whence. Like in English we say whence. Same thing. Twa, it's a nominal pronoun. It is the short form of twam. So there is the actual word is twam, but short form is twa. Both are acceptable. So this is accusative, singular, masculine. Here gender actually does not matter. You, this is related to like personal pronoun you, and you can be used both for masculine and feminine or neuter, but based upon the context we can say masculine here. Base word here is Yushmad. And this means to you. So accusative normally will translate with the preposition to. If you remember, all these cases, they correspond to some English expression where in English you express them by the preposition. The default ones which I have given here, they are the default, but based upon the context of the sentence, we may employ different prepositions in English, because that's what would make more sense in English. Kashmalam, this is nominative. So, sorry, singular. This is neuter. Here the base word is Kashmala, and the meaning would be, it's like some impurity, dejection, delusion, some sort of impurity which manifests a delusion or dejection of the mind, like that. Idam, it's a pronoun. It's also nominative, singular, neuter. The base word here is the same, idam, and it is a demonstrative pronoun, like this. So in that sense, so this delusion, like that, it will come. So idam becomes pronominal adjective to Kashmalam, for example, here. Bishame, so nominative, singular. I'm sorry, this is not nominative, this is locative. Seventh case, singular, Vishama, that would be the Pratipadika or the base word. Here the meaning is odd or unusual, difficult. Samupasthitam, this is nominative, singular, neuter, and the base word here is, so those of you have learned Sanskrit in the course, you can easily see it is like vana, vanam, that way it's nominative singular in neuter. Otherwise you can clearly see that when it is and it's a neuter, then the base word is the same as the actual word in nominative singular, except the last m, makara, samupasthita. It means come upon, approached. It's a participle form, just like in English we have participle form. It's a participle form in Sanskrit also. Anarejustam also nominative, singular, neuter. And it's anarejushta. So this is also made of two words, anarya and jushta. And this means not practiced. So jushta means practiced or resorted to by noble people. So here this word, if you have to just be a little bit clearly understand, this is, you can even say this is made of three words. So jushta, arya, an. Jushta means practiced or resorted to, like it's a fit for something to practice, to engage into. So that is what jushta is. Arya means a noble person. So arya jushta would mean something which is fit, something which is the correct right thing to practice for a noble person. And an is a prefix which negates it. So that means it's a not fit or not practiced by noble people. That's how it means, anarrejushta. Aswargyam, it's also nominative, singular, neuter, and here the base word would be aswargya, and it means not leading to heaven. So here if you look at again, there is a, you can say here aswargya like this. So swargya means something which leads one to heaven, and aswargya is the negative. So just to give you an idea here, when it is vowel, the negative prefix becomes an. When it is a consonant, negative prefix becomes a. So aswargyam, not leading to heaven. Akirtikaram, nominative, singular, neuter, this is also the same kind of word. It's a negated word with akara, and that means not causing fame or glory. So kirti means fame or glory. Kirti kara, I can even put a hyphen here. Kirti kara is one which does the glory, which causes the glory. I becomes a negative word. So something which does not cause the fame or glory. Arjuna, this is a vocative, singular, masculine, and the base word remains the same, and this is the Arjuna name. O Arjuna. O Arjuna. So with this is our word list. That's all it is. And then how do we get the meaning of the whole verse? So one part is very clear. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Lord said. Because it is the past form, and say, to say or speak, the Lord said. So here I have put the Anvaya. Anvaya means the word order as per Sanskrit if it was spoken in a text manner. So we have put hey as an additional word, like O Arjuna. So hey Arjuna, but it is not there in the verse, just to indicate that this is a vocative. It is a word for addressing somebody. So the blessed Lord said or spoke. What did he say? Now all these words, you have to see the first is, we take the vocative. So vocative means O Arjuna. He is addressing Arjuna. So you see here, these are the two people talking. There is no third person here. It's not in a group. He's not calling him from somewhere from a distance. They are just calling. But just like when we have our conversation, sometimes we take the name of the person to whom we are talking, maybe sometimes for the emphasis. Same case here. So it's not like calling out somebody. It is just while talking, I'm calling that person by name. So, O Arjuna. Then we are talking of these words. So look at here. There are nominative, neuter, singular. Nominative, singular, neuter. There are 6 words which are nominative, neuter, singular. What does that tell you is that they are somehow coming together to make the meaning of the verse. Nominative means the subject, the grammatical subject, the subject of the sentence. So they are coming together to make the meaning. What is the meaning? And the object here, again, it's a grammatical object. It is twa, you, to you. And then this is the additional information, locative, which is indicated here by locative. That in this odd, that means in this odd situation. So and these are the further Anaryajushtam, Aswargyam, Akirtikaram, they are the adjectives of the Kashmalam. So Kashmalam means this delusion come upon you, O Arjuna, and this delusion. So idam Kashmalam, these are all both in the neuter nominative singular. So idam becomes an adjective to Kashmalam. This delusion. Samupasthitam. As I told you, this is a participle. So even though it's a nominative neuter singular, it is the meaning it conveys is more of a verbal form. Even though in the grammatical form, it is a nominative, the nominal word. So from where has this dejection come upon you? So kutaha is the from where. and Vishame means in this odd hour. So we'll say, we'll just put these words odd hour or odd situation to just make more sense in English. Where has this delusion come upon you? Kotha is a from where. It is a interrogative word. So you see this delusion, the idam and kashmalam, they are both in the nominator singular neuter. Delusion, kashmalam here becomes the subject because it's in the first case. And this has become its adjective, this delusion, like Arjuna had lamented earlier. And then he is describing what kind of delusion it is. These are the three adjectives. Adjectives come in the same case, same number, same gender as the subject is. So what kind of delusion it is? It is not practiced by noble people. It does not lead one to heaven, and it does not cause glory to one. It does not cause the glory. So in English, when you are translating, see how does it make the best sense in English. And that's where you will see many a times if you pick up different translations of Gita, they will have different translations. And even though it is the same Sanskrit sentence, the translation can vary so much. And that is the reason that in English, you can choose the way it makes more sense to convey. Yet it should not deviate from the original meaning. And if you understand this structure, even if the sentence is written in a little differently, you understand that how much is it adhering to the original meaning or how much it has deviated from. So if you remember, this verse is the starting of when Sri Bhagwan, the Lord, has started speaking. First chapter of Gita, Arjuna sees both the armies arrayed against each other, ready to kill each other. And he gets this huge fit of compassion, so to speak, where he starts wondering, what is the point of all this thing? We are here in an all-out war. The kind of war it is, it will be somebody will die and most of the people will die. It is not that you just defeat somebody. It is an all-out war. People have come here with the intention to die or kill. That is the intention people have come here for. So even if we happen to be the winner at the end of it, what is the point when everybody whom we love is getting killed? That was something Arjuna had the concerns about. And he also had a lot of logic he had given, that why this is not as per dharma, why it is the wrong thing to go for engage in this war. He gave a lot of logic. If you read the first chapter, it's quite beautiful. It shows that Arjuna was a very thoughtful person. He was not an ordinary person. And he tells that, look, when so many men will be killed, there would be a chaos in the society. People who would be left out, they will have no protectors. And like this, he goes on. And finally, when he is done with, he says, okay, I don't think I can fight this war. And he drops his bow and arrow and he just sits down very dejected. And Lord Krishna did not speak till then at all. When he is Arjuna is, and there are quite a few verses in first chapter where Arjuna is just lamenting. He's putting his arguments, he's putting his thought process, his feelings. And Lord Krishna does not intervene. This is the first, after Arjuna finishes speaking, then Lord Krishna speaks. And what words? He only speaks 2 verses. We don't have probably the time for going for the verse number 3 today. We'll go in the next session. But here he is very clearly saying, oh Arjuna, where this delusion has come upon you. This is not, Arjuna is, when he's talking, he acts as if he's talking something very logical, very beautiful, very like the war is kind of pointless. And he was hoping maybe some consolation, some similar kind of strengthening of the feeling from Lord Krishna. But here Lord Krishna starts with, in this odd situation, in this odd hour, where has this delusion come up? Where from has this come upon you? And why this is odd hour? So remember, Arjuna is, the war is about to begin. This is the moment. It is not that they are sitting in the drawing room discussing about war plans and Arjuna raises this question that whether we should go for it or not. All that has happened. All that has happened long time ago. They have already made the alliances with the kings. All the kings from both sides have come with their armies. They are all arrayed in the battlefield. If you read the first chapter, it says, Pravrutte Shastra Sampate Dhanuruddhamya Pandava. Just the people are just about to shoot the arrows. People are just waiting for the final call. Already the conches have been blown to indicate that war is about to begin. So just that moment, that arrows are about to fall, the weapons are about to be used, Arjuna is getting into this conversation. And he is not an ordinary person. He is the foremost warrior from the side of Pandavas. And without him, Pandavas cannot hope for their victory. He is also, of course, the prince of the younger brother of the king Yudhishthira, who will be the king if the war is won for Pandava's side. So this is not an ordinary situation. Lord is saying, look, you are raising this subject now at this hour. I mean, all these years when the war was being planned, what were you doing? Were you sleeping? Were you not thinking about this? You yourself came to me for asking for the help. And now when I have come, everything is ready and you are raising these issues, moral issues, dharmic issues. What has happened to you? And second, so one thing is this odd situation. Second thing is Lord is saying that this dejection, this is a delusion. Like what you are raising, Arjuna is thinking he is raising some very beautiful, some very important points. And Lord has dismissed everything that, look, this is all delusion. This is all kashmalam. Kashmalam is like really something bad, something weakness, something delusion, something to be avoided. And what kind of kashmalam it is? He's saying this is not something which is resorted by noble people. This is not something which will lead to heaven. This is not something which will lead you to fame or glory. People will not talk good of you. That Arjuna thought such noble things and then war was avoided. It's not that kind of thing. This is a kashmala. This is a delusion. So with this is the opening statement of Lord. And when we look at the other verse, the verse number 2, 3, Lord has used even stronger words to scold Arjuna. And we'll see those things. We'll see that next session. So here I just want to take any questions if you have. Okay, so there is a question. There is no verb involved in this verse other than uvacha. So is it implied? Yes. So if you look at this second sentence, so first sentence is complete, Shri Bhagavan uvacha. And here in the second sentence, there is no verb, all are nominal. So in this case, the verb is implied. And what is the implied verb here? The implied verb is asti. Asti means is. like in English, where is this come from, like that, or where has this come upon you. So this is the implied verb. So yes, that is correct. There is an implied verb here, because in Sanskrit, as I said, every sentence has a relationship, that one verb form per sentence. And because there is no verb form can be implied. And generally, when it's an implied verb form, it is of the nature of asti, like is or are. Like in English, when we have something like to be, something similar is in Bangla, where you can say Ami Adhyatmananda. You don't have to say the verb to be. So some languages have this. English does not have. English, you cannot say I Adhyatmananda. It would be I am Adhyatmananda. But in Sanskrit, you can say Aham Adhyatmananda, and it is considered a proper sentence where the verb is implied. So there is a comment here. So Swamiji, we will do one verse per week, which means we will need 72 weeks, more than 1 year to finish this course. Anyway, thank you very much for all. So I do not know if we will be able to do one or two, probably not more than two. Today I explained the some of the verse part also. So the chandas. So maybe we can do two, but my point is to get into detail, and we will not have this 72 weeks course. I'm planning this course to be only for 16 weeks. However, number of verses we are able to go through, that is fine. The idea is to give you this thing, that how to get to this depth of the meaning in Sanskrit. And I told you earlier also that once you understand in this manner, and when you listen to a commentary, like a spiritual commentary from Guruji, you will be able to make more sense of what he is saying. So this is a very traditional way of understanding the words in Sanskrit and getting to the meaning of the verse. So let me also see the other questions. There is a question regarding the document you are using right now is in the repository. What is its name? What is the meaning of Chanda? I already gave you the Chanda. The name, I'll put the presentation. I have not yet put the presentation. So I'll put the presentation in the repository. There is already a document. So repository is here. This is the repository. And we have the scripture course. I'll also put the presentation here so that you can see the other information. But this is the Gita chapter 2nd with all the Sandhi splits and the Samasa splits. Okay, how does Yushmat become Twa? So the question is related to this part, that how does Yushmat becomes Twa? This is how the declensions of this word Yushmat are. So there is a whole table, and this table is available in the repository for Sanskrit 1 course, which is accessible to you. And if you go there, you can see the pronominal declensions, and you can see how does it become Twa. There are rules, of course. Panini has given very specific rules that how does this word Yushmat becomes Twa in whole detail. The table is just showing the form. It does not go into whole details of those rules, which are quite advanced. Is samupasthitam one word, or is it a compound of the words sama and upasthitam? Essentially, it is a compound, sama upasthitam. It's here. Okay, so it's a sum. The word is sam upasthitam. Sam upasthitam. So it is not sama. Sam upasthitam. This is actually a compound technically. Sam and sthita. Sama. So it would be sam upasthita. I did not want to go into these details because the meaning changes. These are called prefixes, verb prefixes, and it makes, here it changes the meaning. Sthita means simply staying in a particular situation, and samupasthita means has come upon. There is a question, why doesn't odd modify dejection? So this vishame is in 7th case, and nominative kashmala is in 1st case. That's why this is not an adjective to kashmala. Vishama is not the adjective to kashmala. Why is the translation not following the anvaya but follows the shloka order? It does not follow the shloka order. Anvaya means the words as they would be put in the Sanskrit text. English has a little bit different order, so it will not follow exactly the English translation. But if you were to write this verse in a text form, how will you write in Sanskrit? That's what Anvaya means. And because Sanskrit is a free word order language, I explained in the first class, there is a choice of how to write Anvaya. It's not like a very fixed form in Sanskrit, but one of the common ways to write this way. There is a comment here, I could not understand Anvaya when I was reading word to word meaning before, slowly getting to know better. Thank you. So there's a question comment here, a question comment. I realize you are explaining this from detailed grammatical point. Is it possible to relate this to today's mindset of human condition? As in this verse, as Arjuna laments, we all go through this in our own personal war in our mind or otherwise. Could you relate this in a way that we all go through what Arjuna went as a common person? We would have some opportunity to discuss some philosophical angle, some this kind of angle what you're describing. I do not know if we will go into a really detail of that, but we would discuss some aspects of it. And as we go in the further verses, this aspect will become more clear to you that how Arjuna is lamenting and the solution to his lamentation is applicable to us. Even though the situation in which he is lamenting is not applicable to us. We are not standing between two armies. But the solution to his problem is applicable to our problem of lamentation also. And that's what is the important point. And that will come across more clearly as we go through further verses. There is a request here, can you also add meaning to Mahamrityunjaya mantra? Okay, we'll put the meaning of Mahamrityunjaya mantra in the slide and I'll put it in the repository. So just the word chanda by itself, what does it mean? Chanda means meter, prosody. Is it possible to upload verse analysis file as a spreadsheet that you are presenting to the repository? I can put it in the spreadsheet. The reason I'm putting it as a PDF so that people who do not have a font or the formatting, they will not have those issues. So that's the reason. But if you request separately on the email, I'll send you as a Excel file. So you can, if anybody wants the in Excel format, you can send a request. Are the meters also applicable to other shlokas like Lalita Sahasranama? Yes. In Sanskrit, whatever stotram, whatever you are reading, most of the scripture, they are written in the poem. And poem basically simply means it is some sort of meter, some sort of chanda. So Lalita Sahasranamam also would be in some chanda. To my knowledge, I am not very familiar with Lalita Sahasranamam, but I think that is also follows this Anushtuk meter for good part. But I have to check. So there is a question, anarya justam, practiced by not noble people or not practiced by noble people. So it will be not practiced by noble people, because you see it is a opposition of arya justa, but it can be used in either way. You can say first I am saying anarya, which is not noble people, and justa means practiced by, so practiced by not noble people. But in the context of this verse, it makes more sense to say that arya justa, something which is practiced by noble people, and an opposite of it, that is not practiced by noble people. You mentioned shloka. Was this defined or coming next week? No, shloka is the same meter. So when I said anushtup, this meter, this is also called shloka here. So the same thing, another word for this is called shloka. There's a question, will we be proceeding just like today and analyzing each verse using the verse analysis table and parsing out each word? Is that what we will be doing? Yes, that's what we will be doing. And we will be discussing some philosophical aspect. Is Bishame an adjective then, or just a noun by itself, not qualifying Twa or Arjuna? It is not qualifying Twa or Arjuna. It is a separate case where Bishame is coming in this situation, kind of indicating in this situation. It's a locative. Because using the verse analysis table almost presupposes knowledge of Sanskrit. Some knowledge of Sanskrit would be good, definitely to have. And as I said earlier, the scriptures is in Sanskrit language. So if you want to have a detailed study of the scripture, knowledge of Sanskrit would definitely be a helpful aid. If not that you have to be absolutely Pandit, but some knowledge of Sanskrit would definitely be helpful. There is a request, Swamiji, can you please also put the meaning of Gayatri Mantra in the repository if possible? I'll try, Baba. There is a request, could you create the spreadsheet in Google Docs? Will it be easy? Will it be easier to share than Excel? I am not sure how many features does a spreadsheet in Google has versus Microsoft Excel. I'm quite okay with Microsoft Excel, and that's what I'm using for. If somebody can help, that would be helpful. You can send a request on the email regarding that. Okay, so okay, what is the there's another question. What is the difference between mantra and shloka? Mantra is anything which, so there is a very different, mantra is as the word, it is coming from mana trayate iti mantra, means one which protects the mind, which helps the mind, which takes care of the mind, that is called mantra. So, and shloka is a poetic meter. Mantra doesn't have to be poetic. A shloka can be a mantra, but a mantra doesn't have to be a shloka. A shloka can be, doesn't have to be. So in other words, if I say mantra like Om Namah Shivaya, it is just a simple 6-syllable mantra. Om Namah Shivaya. It's not a shloka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It's not a shloka. It's just a mantra. On the other hand, it is possible that some shloka can be used as mantras. So, Shrimanima, you have written a question here. This can you please send the email, because this is not related to this class, as you also has said. So with this, I'll conclude the class. Thank you all for your participation. Any questions you have, any things you particularly want to see covered in these classes, or if you have any suggestions for improvement, feel free to send us an email with your suggestions. Thank you so much. We'll close with the closing prayers. We'll chant it together. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Thank you.